We already found all this shit. This sucks.
Are you from Newfoundland?
Yeah, from Corner Brook, Newfoundland.
How young were you when you got screeched in?
Well, my mother's breast produced rum, so
She's so talented.
The first liquid I ever tasted was indeed screech rum, and so it was a beautiful moment. Not great for brain development, but fantastic. Yeah, no, screeched in. Have you guys been in Newfoundland?
Yeah, we my band played there, and I loved it. I really loved it. Yeah,
it's like. I feel like people go, well, it's not like it's part of Canada, and like it very much feels like that when you're from there. You feel like you're just isolated on this rock in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. You speak your own language, you have your own cultural things, and so screeched in is just a terrible thing we do to people who come from away and torture them and laugh at them, and somehow people still think we're friendly. I mean, I don't understand how.
It's a drastic misconception.
Yeah, they took my wallet, beat the shit out of me. But you know what? Just great people. You know, they just.
It's kind of like a Big Brother treatment. They were just, they're hazing me. That's what it is.
I think what I've learned is, and there's rules, I think this applies to comedy as well, stand-up. It's like, you can do whatever you want as long as you have a smile on your face. People perceive that to be friendly. Like you can kick a puppy over the stairs and it's like, oh yeah, but he was just joking around. Yeah, he was joking around, and dog shouldn't have been there.
Yeah, that's right. And you know what? That was his closer. So what do you want?
Yeah, that's how he finishes. He's also selling merch. He's got merch, guys. It's an actual puppy cannon, and. If you've got a puppy that's getting on your nerves, let me tell you, this thing can fit up to 14 pounds of puppy, and it's a great thing. But how are you guys doing? Good?
Really good. Thanks for coming on. By the way, this is Alexi, and she works on your podcast.
Yeah, it's nice to finally meet you.
Thank you so much for all your work. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for blessing us with the pod.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great. The generators. I saw you had our little buddy Sophie on there a little while ago.
She's amazing. She's just a little rock star right now at the moment. It's like you can fry eggs off of her right now. It's like, which I've asked to do, and she's like, well, I don't really think I can do that. But
she's like, well, let's see this puppy cannon, and then we'll see what we can.
Yeah, if you want in on the puppy cannon, not a problem. I mean, we can upgrade it to any animal you want. You know what I mean? It's like, doesn't matter to me. You want a hippo cannon? That's fine, but we're gonna have to put some money in. We're gonna invest in this bad boy. So I've had some amazing guests for sure. I feel grateful that most of the guests that I ask and reach out to, they're like, yeah, sure, I can talk to you about nonsense for an hour. So I saw
you just had Ron McClellan on.
Yeah, it was insane, and I've met Ron a couple times before at a few different things, but I had to get into the Don thing, to ask about the father to Coach's Corner, and he was just so honest about it, and I was like, dude, like he had to get like armed security to follow him around at airports and stuff. Like it was, he really gets into it in our chat. And,
I didn't know Don Cherry was such a threatening person.
It's there's some real loyal Donists out there, and they feel like he threw him under the bus, but he kind of explained his side of it. But it was really, really cool to hear him just be that open. That's what I love about the podcast, is that generally people are very, they're not throwing on, a performance. It's just like two people talking, and that's kind of what the vibe I was going for. So.
Wow, that's really cool. And I saw you just had Bob Saget on also.
Yeah, Bob Saget's like one of the nicest people in entertainment, and I met him a number of years ago, and did he help me out with my work visa and stuff for the U.S.? You know what I mean? I'll write a letter for you. It's like, Bob Saget's writing a letter for my work visa? Like, where am I right now? You're
like, father of DJ Tanner?
Exactly.
I'm starstruck.
I thought the house was full, but apparently there's room for one more. And just such a genuine dude and very nice. Like, I think he's still one of those people, people have success in a certain field, but they always still remember their roots, of starting. And I think Bob Saget still sees himself as like, for everything I've done, I'm still a stand-up comedian. I still remember the struggle and the road and like all the shit gigs. Like, he's still that guy, I think, and that's what makes him so humble.
That's really cool. I saw this interview with Chuck D from Public Enemy, and he said, be nice to everyone on the way up because you're going to see them again on the way down. Yeah. And it seems like Bob Saget's one of those guys who took that advice, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like the first time I met him, dude, like I got to open for a lot of big acts over the years. And
so cool.
You know what it's like, I'm sure too, where it's like, sometimes that big act actually is very humble and, hey, man, nice to meet you. And the other time it's like they're in their own green room. They don't want to talk to you. They don't even know you performed. Like literally you'll finish and they're like still in their dressing room. Like you could walk by them. They're like, can you give me a Pepsi? It's like, no, I was actually I just actually did some time on the show. So, but Bob was like, went to my dressing room right away. The first time I ever met him, knocked on the door. He's like, Trent, I saw some of your clips, man. You were hilarious. Do you want to do a drink after? You want to go for a drink? If you don't drink, that's totally cool. But if you want to go for a drink, man, I'd love to just like talk shop or whatever. I was like, this guy's awesome. Like just very down to earth and no hierarchy of like ego and like I'm this guy and you're just a nobody here. This local opening act and just a genuine guy right off the top.
So refreshing. Mm-hmm. And I love the mentality that comics have, like true comics, of we're all doing the same kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. It's come up on the podcast a bunch too, and I'm sure you see it in the music world. It's like, you really feel like there's enough pie for everybody, you know? Yeah. Like you can all have success and find your own fan base and your own listeners, and it doesn't necessarily mean someone else suffers. It doesn't have to be that way. Yeah. Dave Nystrom described it as there's more than one bus to Hollywood, right? Like if that bus leaves without you, it's like, dude, wait 15 minutes. There's another bus coming to pick up more people. You're like, no, that was the goddamn bus I was supposed to be on, and someone took my seat. It's like you're the old man with a cane just waving at the bus while other buses are passing you with nothing but empty seats. You're like, I'm supposed to be on Route 8. You know, like, so it's like, you just make room, realize like, there's more time. There's more stuff coming. So
yeah,
exactly.
Trent, what was the last day job you had before you were doing comedy full time?
Oh, dude, I used to work with kids at like a boys and girls club. I was like a club coordinator. So we ran like after school programs and day camps and stuff. I'm going to tell you something right now. I still have PTSD when it's summertime. When I'm driving, I'm parked at a red light and I see like a bunch of older like youth with bright yellow shirts walking a bunch of smaller kids. I'm like, Godspeed. Godspeed to all of you. Yeah. Because you're going to take them swimming and they all got to make it back. Every one of them. You can't be like 95%. Most of them made it. You can't do any of that. There are parents waiting at the club for their return. Yeah. And that's on your shoulders for about $11 an hour. So good luck to you now. Like, so that was I still get the shakes. I just drive to the light, like just go on ahead.
I thought you were going to say you got PTSD from all the abuse those children dealt out to you.
Oh, there was a lot of that too. Yeah, there was a lot of issues that the parents would just drop the kid off and go, well, I'll pick him up in 8 hours. Good luck. And then they just walk away. Like, why is she screeching her tires into the parking lot? And 11 minutes later, you're like, okay, I get it now. He's here for 8 weeks? Excellent. That should be a good time. Did you leave his meds?
That's like that John Mulaney bit about how no one's meaner than 12-year-old kids because they insult you in detail. Like, that guy over there has feminine hips. It's like, how'd you know I was insecure about that?
Yes, exactly. That's so true. No one can bring you down to size quicker than a kid. Because a kid's like, you ever try to be funny with a kid and they just look at you like, you're like, anyway, I'm not that funny. You just move on. Like, you become instantly that kid at the schoolyard who's just by himself. Suddenly, you're like, wait a second, I'm an adult, goddamn. Like, why am I? How did this person get inside my head and all my anxieties?
Come to think of it, I've been left hanging for high fives by a lot of children.
Yeah,
that's rude.
Yeah,
they like doing that.
And the other thing is, kids don't get sarcasm, right? Like, if you say something to a kid and you're joking, and they're like, they think it's serious. Like, this guy's insane. Like, listen, who are you? What are you doing? And you're just like, no, I was kind of playing. I was joking. Like, they're like, I'm gonna go play dodgeball. Get out of here. And so you're always measured quickly. So because when I first went on stage the first time, the manager of the club said, "Oh, you must have a degree. Like, you must have a history in like performing and drama and stuff." I'm like, no, I just work with kids for like a decade, and you're gonna just pull stuff out of your ass all day to try to get the attention of these kids and get them to listen. So I think just having to stand in front of a bunch of kids who could care less and just go like that is the true bomb. The true bomb is like, guys, we're gonna do a scavenger hunt. Who's excited for the scavenger hunt? And then the kids look at you and go, we already found all this shit. This sucks. And you're like, fuck. Like, you spent all day hiding Easter eggs or whatever it was in the woods, and they're like, these are melted. I want to go home. Like, you think you bombed on stage? That is bombing in the middle of a public park, and you're there for 8 hours with these kids. That was supposed to take up 4. That's over. That's done.
Yeah, you start to understand teachers just put a movie on. It's like, I don't know what to do. Watch Fast and the Furious.
Yeah.
I got nothing. When I worked at a community center, it was the same kind of work, after school programming. We used to go down to a school at lunchtime and just kind of run recreational activities at lunchtime,
Yeah.
And the bell would go off. We'd be in the parking lot for lunch, and we'd go into the school, and teachers would be racing out of the school, just like, good luck with all that. And they were just like getting to their cars to chain smoke out in the parking lot. And I was like, that can't be that bad. And then literally 10 minutes later, you're also out in the car with the teachers. Yeah, you got another one there? Thanks.
Yeah. Your clothes are all tattered now for some reason.
Yeah. I can't find my watch. I don't know what happened to my watch. That kid was big. That was grade 5. Are you serious? He's got a tattoo and a beard. Oh, God. Here they come. They're coming. Just hide under the seat. So it was a lot of that. But that toughens you up, man. If you can handle that for a decade, you're like, maybe I can go up in front of adults who actually care and give this a spin. So that was the last day job I had.
Were you a teacher?
No, it was more just I used to coach soccer when I was younger. That was my first ever job, was 12 years old, coaching 9-year-old kids, in minor soccer. And so I always had that kind of history. And I graduated from university with an arts degree, which means I don't have a job. And then I waitered for a year serving. And then a friend of a friend said, they're hiring at this community center, and you used to work with kids, and they need a recreation person to help out. So that was kind of my introduction into that world. And then I ended up, what it's like, you just kind of drift into that world. Next thing you know, 10 years go by, and you're like, oh, wow, I guess I work with kids now, until I walked on stage the first time. So.
Yeah, surprisingly, a lot of comedians we deal with work with kids.
Yeah,
which is you wouldn't think, but maybe there's something to what you're saying about it's kind of staying entertaining for large periods of time with people who don't want to see that.
Yeah, exactly. And there's something about the broken soul of a comedian who's like, I need the validation of these people who could care less.
Yeah.
And also the fact that we're all pretty childish. Most comedians live fairly childlike, and so kids are like, you're much bigger and taller, but you kind of live like I do, and I appreciate that. So they kind of see you as on their level. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You drive and I don't, but that's the only difference, really. So.
Wow. And then how did 22 Minutes happen?
It's an insane story. I actually, I went there as a writer for a couple of stints, for 2 or 3 weeks at a time. And I did that for maybe 2-3 years. Yeah. And after my third time there, I was on the set of Amazing Race Canada. I was asked to write a comedy segment for that and host it as one of the challenges. And it happened to be in my hometown. Oh. So I show up for the shoot the day before just to look at the setting and all that stuff. And there's 2 fine arts students who are helping out with the shoot. And so we're talking before we start, and I go, in entertainment, I said, you probably have to accept that, your life can change with a phone call or an email at any minute. And then an hour after that, my phone goes off, and it's my agent, and she's like, 22 Minutes wants you to join the cast. And I was like,
oh my God.
What? She's like, yeah, they want you to join the cast. I was like, no, you mean they want me to come back as a writer, right? She's like, no, on camera as a cast member. I was like, can you email that to me? Because I can't let it in here. The words coming out of your mouth. It was that insane. And I was just in my hometown at the same time. It was just all overwhelming in the moment. And but it's true, man. You know what it's like in entertainment. It's like you're just trucking along doing your thing, and then one email or phone call, and suddenly your career just goes in this direction. And so that was it. And that was 4 years ago. Yeah. So
were you already headlining as a comedian before that?
Yeah. I was doing my own shows. I was doing the circuit for a lot of years, and eventually I was used to open for Jerry D quite a bit. Yeah. And one day him and I went for supper. I was opening for him on one of his theater shows. Yeah. And he said to me, he goes, man, you got to find a way to get off the circuit. He's like, I don't know how you're going to do it. He goes, for me, I got lucky. I got Last Comic Standing and stuff. He goes, but you have to find a way to do your own thing. And so just that confidence from someone who had been successful is all right. So I started just renting small theaters, and then I would also pay for the marketing of those things. And when you put down $2,000 on a venue, you're like, oh shit, now I got to sell X amount of tickets to get to $2,000. Like you're betting on yourself, you know?
Yeah.
And I got lucky the first couple I did out of the gate. So then I was encouraged to kind of just keep doing it and keep doing it. So yeah, I kind of stepped out that way, but I mean, it's terrifying.
That's such a cool
it's terrifying,
story.
But it's just like, I just realized I was like, you know, because to me, a comedy club is just a business model. You know, it's a set of lights in a room and chairs, and you, as a performer, fit into that business model for them and for their business.
Yeah.
But if that money doesn't work for you, or the situation doesn't work for you, that's their business model, and so that's the way they're going to run it. Mm-hmm. So I went, well, what if I set up my own business model and try and just get my own, you know, following to follow me to a room to watch me do what I do. So that was kind of the mindset behind it, and so. So by that time, I've been doing that for a bunch of years and was doing pretty well. So it was, I got lucky in a lot of ways.
That's so interesting how, you know, when you got 22 minutes and it's like your own self-conscious is like, I don't deserve that.
Yeah.
Yet you were able to put money on yourself before that to do those theater things. So it's a weird dichotomy of not believing in yourself and super believing in yourself, you know?
Yeah.
And like, I guess putting your own money into it too.
Yeah.
But like when it's somebody else's money, you're like, I don't know.
Yeah. Like, just a second, right? You know, I don't do mornings, right? It's like, because I always found that all the time with comedians, like, we want festival bookers and club bookers to bet on us all the time.
Yeah.
But like, that's their marketing dollars. That's them taking a chance on you having a good weekend, whatever. But like, are you going to bet on yourself? Like, do you have a website? Do you have headshots? Do you want to rent out your own venue? Like, at the end of the day, I'm sure the same thing in the music world. Like, how are you betting on you? Like, it's easy to go, well, I play and I do gigs. It's like, but are you going to go to the next level and really go for that? And a lot of people are afraid to do it. I get why, but it's like, at the end of the day, you have to show that you believe in yourself, you know? That makes any sense. But.
Oh, that's great. This is the most motivational one yet.
Yeah, I feel good.
I like this. I'm going to put this on in the mornings.
You put on the wrong part. It's just me yelling at kids. You're like, this isn't motivational at all. God, who is
just
that
you
guy?
Yelling about kids? They're terrible.
For the love of God, Billy, just put the eggs back in the bushes. This is the worst motivational CD I've ever purchased.
We got one more question that we've been asking people is that, what is your worst concert experience?
Oh, man. Interesting question.
The people we just had on Derek Seguin and Abdul Butt, and they both had Metallica concert. One of them was at the show where the singer Metallica got lit on fire by accident.
Wow, I don't have anyone who's been set ablaze. I've been pretty fortunate, like in the shows that I've seen. Like for me, when I go to a live event, like music in particular, I always feel like it's worth it. Like. I always go, like, you feel like you're part of a bigger community and it's been good. I would share this story maybe, but it didn't involve me. It involved a good friend of mine. He brought his kids and they're like young teenagers and they want to go see the Chainsmokers. Like, this was their first show ever. Yeah. So they go to the show and of course it's like a lot of laptops and stuff. And he's like, this isn't music at all. What the fuck? What are they doing? They're like, man, this is awesome. He's like, no, this shouldn't be the first concert experience. It's just, no one's playing shit. Like, it's not even. And they were like, oh, yeah, this is awesome. It was just like them pressing a button and like, like this is not live music in any way, shape, or form. So it was, I was like, yeah, that would be weird. But I've been lucky, man. I got to see John Mayer 2 years ago. Like, he did two different sets, acoustic set. He did like a full band plugged in thing. Yeah. And that was mind blowing. I was just like, that kind of defeated me, though. You would appreciate this as a musician. I was like, man, I'm going to learn to play guitar because I saw John Mayer playing guitar. And I'm like, that is not how you want to approach playing guitar when you're new and you have only air guitared your whole life. You're like, this is not like air guitaring at all. Like air drumming, you're like, this kind of can mimic keeping time. Like, you can get away with it. Yeah. Air guitar ain't shit like real guitar. It means there's no correspondence at all to it. And I learned that the moment I bought a Yamaha acoustic and went, this thing doesn't doesn't work properly.
That sounds terrible.
Damn you, John Mayer.
Oh yeah, I like he's an interesting guy because he's just so talented in so many different ways, and he's now joined the Grateful Dead, so he has been filling in for them, and then he was opening for Dave Chappelle on tour. Like,
oh dude, so I saw that at JFL. It was Mayer comes out and just plays a bunch of songs and a bunch of hits for 30 minutes.
Yeah,
and then he brings out Chappelle, and Chappelle hammers for an hour. But they had a lounge set up behind them, so everyone's just kind of hanging out at this lounge.
So
and then
cool.
It was pretty wild. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Chappelle only did an hour. Are you sure?
He did an hour, but then he brought Mayer back out, and then they just kind of did some improv stuff, like just whatever. And I was like, okay, what is happening? Like minds are blown. So,
remember when all those comedians in the mid 2000s were like trying to beat each other's records, and like Chappelle did 8 hours, and then Dane Cook did like 24 hours, and then someone else beat those guys. It's like a guy named Bob Marley. He's a comedian from New York. He's the one who said, "Oh, really?"
Yeah, I've worked with him at Halifax Festival here. Like, really funny guy.
Yeah,
and they're all incredible talents. But I'm telling you, as a comic, no one, 0 people want to hear anyone longer than an hour and a half. I don't care.
I know.
Look, if Jesus came back and was like, okay, I have stuff for everybody. People are like, literally, Jesus, I got parking. I got a babysitter, right? I can't be here. Can we stretch? Is there going to be a break? You're going to keep on with nobody wants to listen to anyone for longer than an hour and a half, 2 hours. They just don't.
That's so funny. Graham Clark, he was on 22 Minutes as a writer also. He's a great comedian.
I love Graham. Great. Fantastic.
Me too. He's one of my favorites. But he was saying he's like, I think everything's too long. Just a little bit too long.
That's so true.
Shorten everything by like 15%, and I would be much happier.
True. Yeah, it's so true. Like even you see now with like streaming services, that's why it's so popular, because you don't have to do the commercials anymore. You just get to blow through. Just give me content that I want to see. Yeah. I don't care that Trident's got a new flavor. I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? Just keep it coming. So I think you're right. Our attention spans are not letting in these outside distractions.
I remember there's a band called Ween, and I went and saw them. No opener, 3 hours in. I'm like, wait a second. I'm not this big of a Ween fan.
Could you guys just put on some wigs and pretend you're another band for 45 or just you for 3? I saw Fleetwood Mac with the original lineup probably about 5 years ago, and they didn't have an opening act either. Oh, cool. But it was pretty amazing because they do have the catalog to do a 3 hour show. You know what I mean? But not many bands. Like Pearl Jam, I'm sure you can go, you guys can do 3. Springsteen. But I don't think too many bands. A couple bands are playing. You heard this one on song 5, but this time it's unplugged. All right. We've got trumpets this time. All right. You're like, I know. I got to take but some people can get away with it. But you're right. Most things are too long. A
little bit too long. Cool thing about Pearl Jam is they've never done the same set list 2 nights in a row.
Isn't that insane?
And they choose what it is right before they go on stage every night.
I love that.
It must be hard to remember everything.
Well, yeah, exactly. Especially like if you haven't had a chance to or do they just go crazy rehearsal-wise before they hit the road and go like, we need to go through every tune we've ever written before we hit the road? You know?
I don't know. They're amazing. He must have a monitor with his lyrics on it, Springsteen style at this point.
Yeah. Now, if you're Smashmouth, you're like, not a problem, right? We got 11 songs. Yeah. And I mean, those are the ones that are getting played. So, I mean, I can call out, I can just go song 5 on the album. And people are like, the band are like, no problem. That's all we already know. That's all we got. And that's what they do. Somebody. And it's like, everyone's like, they already played it twice. Why is he trying to crowd surf? No one wants to see Smashmouth crowd surf. 0 people.
I'd go watch them play All Star, just 12 songs in a row.
Yeah, 12 times.
Yep. You guys know this one, sing along. You already did it 4 other times. Is he just going to play All Star all the time?
She's in the back like, play the song from Scooby-Doo too.
I was very disappointed. I did not hear the Scooby-Doo song, but just right up on Yelp.
You Yelp Smashmouth.
No one's read it. No one else has commented. It's like, pointless comment.
All right, Trent. Well, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. We're big
thanks for having me.
And The Generate is such a great podcast.
Yeah.
You're great on it. You are great on it.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much for your work on it. No, I really appreciate it. And everybody over at Comedy Or Often, the podcast network. It's been great to be in collaboration with you folks over there. So keep doing the good work.
Thanks, Trent.
Same to you.
All right. Cheers. Take care. See you.
Bye.